Have you ever had a conversation with someone and they're like fake smiling and you could tell they're not really listening to you, but they want you to like them? Or maybe you can think of like an online personality who does this. We don't want to replicate that. We don't want to be like them. We want to be genuinely interested in what the other person has to say. Because if you go into any conversation with the mindset that you could learn something from the other person, then chances are you'll learn a lot of things from a lot of conversations. Not all of the conversations, but if you go in with that open mindset, then you become a better listener. You're like, oh, wow, I wonder why you did that. It's like approaching things with curiosity more so than judgment will completely change your life. And understanding that like we don't know everything. Like there's so many things I don't know that I could learn from other people. Like I can't tell you how many conversations I've had with people at coffee shops, like Uber drivers, just out and about, where I've learned something that's been useful for me in other areas of my life. Like I make comedy skits. Sometimes I've met like actors, actresses just at a coffee shop and we ended up making a video together and that video has gotten like 100,000 views. So it's like, you don't know what could happen until you have conversations. And the way to be a better listener, to have those meaningful conversations, is by actively listening. So how to actively listen, there's a couple tips and tricks that can be really helpful. So the first is reflections. So a reflection is basically just summarizing what the other person said to you in one sentence. So if I said to you like, man, I really loved playing basketball as a kid, like, oh man, Allen Iverson was my favorite player, and I would watch all the games. I would actually want to go to like a Sixers game, and then one year I finally went to a Sixers game, and it was so much fun. Then your reflection based on what I said could be something like, oh, it seems like basketball was important to you growing up. And then you're like, yeah, it was important to me growing up. Actually, like even me and my friends, we would play outside. So it's like, it's kind of inviting the other person to speak more about the topic. And you're just summarizing it for them to show that you're listening. That's really effective. And this is an effective technique that I learned in my coaching course. I went to Emory University's Health and Wellness Coaching Program to learn how to coach people. And this is super effective, actively listening with reflections. And the other thing is like asking effective questions. Like, how did that make you feel? Was that difficult? How did this impact other areas of your life? These are ways to get someone to open up and think about things a little bit differently. And this is where coaching can be really helpful. And I'm a coach. You can sign up for a free session with the link in the description. But a really good question could start to make you think about things in a different way. And then that could completely change someone's life because maybe they make a decision based on that. So like maybe someone's thinking about a career change, and then they have a conversation with you, and they start to talk more about it, and they're like, you know what, actually, I really don't like what I do and have this other opportunity, and then they make the switch, and that completely changes their life, right? That completely changes the trajectory of their life, because maybe they develop a whole new career based on this one decision. So like these conversations, they're not small things, they're important. But if you actually listen, you're actually interested in what people have to say, you get them to speak about what they're passionate about, what they want to talk about, and they open up to you, then you could have those meaningful conversations, and that makes you feel better as well. It's like it invites them to open up to you, and you can open up to them, and then you can make better decisions. And sometimes the lesson you learn is how not to be like the other person. Like sometimes I'll have a conversation with someone, and I'm just like, man, I don't want to end up like you at all, because like maybe they made some big mistakes in their lives, or maybe they're chasing something that's not good for them. But it's important to go in with the understanding that you could learn something from anyone. Because even if it's not a positive message, you could learn what not to do. So let's say you're talking to someone and in your head you're like, man, I don't want to be like this person at all. Well, now you learned what not to do. So it's like, I really think you could learn something from anyone, whether it's like how to be like them or how not to be like them, or how to be partially like them and not like them. There's certain things that you could learn from literally everyone, because everyone has a unique story. So it's like, it's so important to go into conversations with genuine curiosity and the understanding that you could learn something from anyone and actively listen to what they have to say. Because if you do that, then you have these meaningful conversations, completely changes your life. And of course, having these conversations, if it's with new people and you're not used to starting conversations like this, yeah, maybe it'll feel uncomfortable. So it won't necessarily be easy at first, but it will be worth it. Life's not easy, but it's worth it. Take care.